The night sky split open. A glowing line of fire tore across the dark heavens, bright enough to turn the forest silver. The air itself trembled as something massive screamed through the clouds and crashed into the distant valley. The sound rolled like thunder, shaking the ground beneath Eli's feet. He froze, his heart pounding. For a moment he thought it was another bombing, another human war returning to the empty colony world, but then he realized it wasn't a weapon. It was a ship. A ship coming down fast. Eli had lived alone for years in the ruins of an old settlement. The colony had failed when he was still a child. The others had left or died. He survived by hunting, scavenging, and fixing broken machines in the forest. Life was quiet, cold, and lonely. But tonight everything changed. He grabbed his flashlight and ran toward the smoke. His boots splashed through the mud as glowing ash fell like snowflakes. He could smell burned metal even before he saw the crash. When he reached the valley, he stopped, breathless. There it was, a sleek alien ship, half buried in the earth, steam rising from every crack. The hull shimmered with strange blue symbols that flickered weakly. One wing was gone. The other was twisted like paper. Sparks danced through the wreckage. Eli swallowed hard. "What kind of ship is this?" he whispered. He had seen alien vessels before, far above the atmosphere, but never this close. Humans were forbidden to approach alien technology. The stories said alien machines could melt human skin or fry their brains. But curiosity was stronger than fear. He stepped closer. The air buzzed with static. A metal hatch had been torn open, and inside faint movement caught his eye. Something, or someone, was alive. Eli climbed the side carefully, gripping the sharp edges of metal. Inside the cabin, smoke filled his lungs. He coughed and covered his mouth with his sleeve. And then he saw him. An elderly alien, tall and silver-skinned, was slumped against the wall. His body armor was cracked. His breathing was weak. Strange glowing veins pulsed across his skin like fading light. Eli froze again. The alien's face was unlike anything he'd seen. Deep lines, sharp jaw, and eyes that shimmered faintly blue even through pain. He looked fragile, almost peaceful, like a dying king. Hey, can you hear me?" Eli said quietly. No answer. Eli looked around for something to help. Flames were spreading. The floor was starting to melt. He had seconds. He grabbed the alien by the arms, surprised by how light he was, and dragged him out of the ship. The heat burned his hands, but he didn't stop. He pulled until they both rolled down into the grass. The alien groaned weakly, eyes fluttering open. He looked at Eli with confusion and fear. His lips moved, forming strange sounds. "Shira, Kel, Vo," he whispered. "I don't understand," Eli said. "You're safe now. I got you out." The alien coughed, a spark of blue light escaping his chest wound. He reached into his pocket and pressed something into Eli's hand. A small metallic badge, warm and glowing faintly with alien symbols. Then the alien fell unconscious. Eli looked at the badge. He couldn't read it, but he could see one thing. A crest made of a star wrapped in silver vines. He looked back at the burning ship. The fire was spreading up the trees now. Drones might notice the heat. The alien would die if he stayed here. So Eli made a choice. He lifted the alien onto his back and started walking. It was a long, painful journey through the forest. Branches scratched his face. His shoulders ached from the alien's weight. The old man was taller than him by nearly 2 feet, but he was light. Too light, like he hadn't eaten in days. By dawn, Eli reached his cabin, a small shelter built from scavenged colony metal. He laid the alien on his bed and covered him with a blanket. For the next few hours, Eli worked like a medic. He washed the burns with clean water, used old nanogel patches from a broken medbot, and sealed the wounds with adhesive foam. The alien's skin healed slowly, leaving silver marks like scars of light. When Eli finished, he sat on the floor exhausted. He studied the alien's face again. There was something noble about him, not like a soldier or a pirate, something older, wiser. Even in pain, his posture was calm. Eli whispered to himself, "Who are you?" The next night, Eli heard something outside. He grabbed his old plasma knife and crept to the door. Through the cracks, he saw small red lights moving between the trees. Drones, hovering silently, scanning the forest with thin blue beams. He froze. Were they searching for the alien? He turned off every light and waited. The drones passed overhead, humming low like bees, then vanished into the distance. When Eli went back inside, the alien was awake. His eyes glowed softly in the dim light. "Human," he said, voice rough, mechanical. "You saved me." Eli blinked. "You can speak English?" The alien touched a small translator on his neck. "Broken, but working. You helped me." He looked around. "Why?" Eli shrugged. "You were dying. I couldn't just leave you." The alien stared at him for a long time. His eyes softened. "Most humans run from us. Maybe they didn't see someone bleeding in front of them," Eli said quietly. The alien smiled faintly. A tired, pained smile. "Your name?" "Eli," he said. "What's yours?" The alien hesitated. "Zoran," he said finally. "Zoran Vel." Eli frowned. The name meant nothing to him. "You're far from your home, Zoran." "Yes," the alien whispered. "Too far." He looked at his hand, burned, shaking, and then at the badge still lying on the table. The same one he had given Eli. "You kept it?" "Didn't know what it was," Eli said. "It looks important." Zoran nodded slowly. "It is." His voice was faint, but his eyes hardened for a moment. "If they find me, they will kill me. And you." Eli's heart jumped. "Who?" "Those drones," Zoran said. "They belong to my enemies. They want what I know, what I own." Eli tried to make sense of it. "You're some kind of soldier?" Zoran's lips curved into a small smile. "No, boy. Something worse. A businessman." Eli didn't understand, but he could feel the weight of the words. That night, while Zoran rested, Eli sat outside the cabin, staring at the stars. He wondered what kind of world the alien came from, what kind of life he had before the crash. The wind carried the smell of burnt metal from the crash site miles away. He thought about the drones, the danger, and the strange badge glowing softly inside. He had saved a stranger, an alien, but maybe that act had pulled him into something far bigger than he could imagine. Inside, Zoran opened his eyes again. His gaze fell on Eli sitting under the stars, a human boy in torn clothes and worn boots, unafraid of death or difference. Zoran whispered something in his own language. The translator was off, but the meaning was clear in his tone. "You may be the reason I live." The night was quiet again. But in the far distance, another ship entered orbit, black, silent, and watching. The hunt had just begun. The morning came with fog. The air was heavy and quiet, and a pale sun rose behind the mountains. Eli sat outside his small cabin, sharpening his knife and staring at the forest. He hadn't slept all night. Inside, the alien, Zoran, was still weak but awake. His eyes followed every movement Eli made, calm but unreadable. His silver skin reflected the morning light like polished steel. Eli turned when he heard a low cough. Zoran was trying to sit up. "You should rest," Eli said, standing quickly. Zoran waved his hand weakly. "Rest is for those with time. I may not have much." Eli helped him sit, putting a cup of warm herbal water in his hands. Zoran looked at it curiously before sipping. "This tastes like soil," he muttered. "It keeps fever down," Eli said. "Best I can do." Zoran smiled faintly. "You are kind, human boy." "Too kind for this broken world," Eli shrugged. "Kindness is free. Doesn't cost me anything." Zoran looked away, silent for a long time. Then he said softly, "On my world, kindness is the rarest thing to find. It costs more than gold." Hours passed. Zoran asked many questions about Earth, about humans, about Eli himself. Eli told him how the human colony had failed years ago, how disease and war had left him alone, how no ship ever came to rescue them. Zoran listened with quiet eyes. When Eli finished, Zoran said, "My company traded with this sector once. We built weapons, machines, things that destroyed as much as they helped. I may be partly to blame." Eli frowned. "Your company?" Zoran hesitated, then nodded. Was the founder of Vel Industries. We controlled half the trade routes of the Orion Arm. I had everything, power, fleets, riches beyond number. But I lost it all the moment I trusted the wrong people." Eli blinked. He didn't understand all the words, but he knew one thing. This alien wasn't just rich. He was someone important, someone dangerous to know. "Your ship crashed because of them?" he asked. "Yes," Zoran said quietly. "My board betrayed me. They wanted my seat, my secrets, so they tried to erase me." "Erase you?" "In our world, death is easier than exile," Zoran said. "They sent assassins. They shot me down when I tried to warn the council. Eli stared at him, confused. But you're an old man. Why would they fear you? Joran smiled sadly. Because I still hold the keys to every credit account, every hidden project, every secret file that could destroy them. They think if I die, my empire becomes theirs. Eli didn't know what to say. It was strange. The man sitting in front of him looked like someone's tired grandfather, not a galactic billionaire. The next few days passed slowly. Joran's wounds healed and his strength returned a little. Eli taught him how to cook local roots and fish. Joran, in turn, taught Eli how to use a few alien tools he carried, tiny drones that could purify water or detect toxins. They began to talk more and sometimes laugh. For the first time in years, Eli didn't feel alone, but danger was always near. Every night more drones flew over the forest. They moved in silent patterns, scanning everything with blue beams. Eli hid Joran in the cellar under the cabin, covering it with metal scraps and wood. Joran said the drones were hunters, mercenaries sent by his own company. One night, as they sat quietly by the dim fire, Zoran spoke again. I cannot stay hidden forever, Eli. They will find me. Then we'll move. Eli said quickly, I know caves near the mountains. They'll never find you there. Joran shook his head. No, running won't save me. They can scan through stone and fire. What I need is a signal. A signal, yes. A beacon that only my loyal fleet can read. I must repair the communicator. Eli looked at the broken device on the table, a small round disc with cracked glass and flickering lights. Can it even work? With help, yes, Zoran said. But I need power. Your machine's old but maybe useful. Eli nodded. I can try. The next day they worked together. Eli gathered old batteries and power cells from broken colony bots. Joran reconnected wires with trembling fingers, muttering alien words under his breath. When they finally powered the device, a weak hum filled the air. A light blinked. It's alive, Eli said. Joran smiled. Barely. He tapped a few keys, entering strange codes. A distorted voice came from the speaker. Static at first, then a few clear words. Asset confirmed lost. Proceed with elimination of all witnesses. The message ended. Eli's blood ran cold. They're coming here. Joran's face darkened. Yes, they think if they kill anyone who saw me, their secret will stay safe. Eli clenched his fists. Then we fight. Joran looked at him in surprise. Fight against war drones? You're only one boy. Eli stood tall. I'm one boy who knows this forest better than they ever will. The alien stared at him for a moment. Then a slow, proud smile spread across his face. You remind me of my younger self long ago when I still believed in bravery over profit. Eli grinned. Maybe bravery still works. They began to prepare. Eli showed Zoran the hidden tunnels under the old colony ruins. Together they set traps using old explosives and broken power cores. Joran taught Eli how to aim the alien plasma rifle, its smooth barrel glowing faintly. The weapon is not your strength, he said. Your mind is. Think faster than your enemy. Always move. Always expect the second shot. Eli nodded seriously. That night as they sat near the fire again, Zoran asked softly, Why did you help me, Eli? You could have left me there. No one would blame you. Eli stared at the flames. Because once, someone helped me. A traveler came when I was little. He gave me food and said, When you grow up, help the next one who needs it. He never came back. Maybe I'm just keeping that promise. Joran was silent for a long time. Then he said, You are richer than any man I ever knew. The next evening, the wind carried a strange sound. Low, mechanical, distant. Joran's eyes widened. They're here. From the ridge above the forest, red lights appeared. Dozens of drones moving in formation, scanning the ground. Eli rushed to grab his plasma rifle. Joran tried to stand but staggered. Stay down, Eli said. I'll handle this. Joran shook his head. You cannot face them alone. Then help me from here. Use your machines. I'll draw them in. Before Zoran could stop him, Eli was gone, running through the trees like a shadow. The first drones spotted movement and fired beams of red energy. Trees exploded around him, smoke filling the forest. Eli ducked, rolled, and fired back. His shots hit one drone. It fell in a burst of sparks. Joran watched from the window, his hands trembling. He reached for his communicator and activated a hidden command. One of the enemy drones paused, its red light turning blue. It was now under his control. He directed it against the others. The air lit up with fire and explosions. Eli used the distraction to move, hitting another target. The ground shook. Burning fragments fell from the sky. When the battle ended, silence returned to the forest. Smoke drifted over the trees. Eli walked back slowly, covered in ash and sweat. His arm was bleeding, but his eyes were steady. Joran met him at the door. "You fought like a soldier." Eli smiled weakly. "I fought like someone who didn't want to die." Joran helped him sit down. "You did more than that. You fought for me." "For a stranger." Eli looked at him. "You're not a stranger anymore." For the first time, the old alien laughed softly. A real laugh, not the tired one he used before. "Then perhaps there is hope for both our kinds." Outside, the forest burned quietly under the stars. In the distance, the remaining drones retreated, sending silent signals back to their masters. Inside the cabin, the old alien looked at Eli, this young, scarred human boy, and saw in him something he had not seen in centuries, the courage that money could never buy. He whispered softly, "Humanity truly is a force the galaxy never understood." But even as they rested high above the clouds, another ship was descending, black, silent, and filled with soldiers who had received a new order. Their commander's voice echoed in the cabin's communicator, cold and sure. "Recover the Founder. Eliminate the human." The next chapter of their fight had already begun. The night fell again, quiet but tense. The stars above the forest seemed colder, sharper, and strange red lights moved among them like silent eyes. Eli stood outside the cabin, holding his plasma rifle close. His arm still hurt from the last fight, but his eyes were steady. Inside, Joran sat at the small table, watching the flicker of the dying fire. His face looked older now, tired, but his mind was alert. He could feel something coming. "Something worse than drones. More will arrive," Zoran said quietly. Eli didn't look back. "I know, that's why I'm ready." "You cannot fight an army, Eli," the alien said softly. "They will burn this entire forest just to find me." Eli turned, eyes glowing in the firelight. "Then let them come." Joran stared at him for a moment. "You are not afraid?" Eli gave a small smile. "I've been afraid all my life. It stopped helping me a long time ago." Hours later, the silence broke. A low hum grew from the horizon. The air shimmered. Trees began to sway. Then a massive black ship appeared above the forest, long and sharp like a blade, silent as a shadow. Joran stood, gripping the edge of the table. "They sent a hunter craft. Full strike squad." Eli checked the rifle, heart racing. "Then this is it." The ship opened its side ports and hundreds of small drones descended like rain, red lights blinking through the fog. Each one scanned the ground. Joran limped toward the console they'd repaired earlier. "If I can connect to their network, I might turn some of them against the others." Eli nodded. "Do it. I'll hold them off." He ran out into the night. The first drone spotted him immediately, firing red beams that lit the forest like fire. Eli dove behind a fallen log and returned fire. The plasma bolt hit one drone, then another. Sparks exploded, metal shrieked. "Joran!" he shouted. Now would be a good time. Inside the cabin, the alien worked fast. His hands moved across the broken device, wires sparking. The communicator glowed bright blue. He closed his eyes, muttering ancient commands. "Override code Vel Prime Omega sequence." The drones froze midair for a second. Then half of them turned their lights blue. Eli looked up, shocked. "You did it." "Not for long," Joran shouted. "The code will break soon." "You must move." Eli ran deeper into the forest, leading the red drones away from the cabin. Explosions followed him. Trees burst into flames. Smoke filled the sky. He slid down a muddy slope and ducked behind a rock. The ground shook as another blast hit nearby. He aimed again, shooting until the rifle hissed empty. Then a voice echoed from above, cold and calm. "Human life form detected. You are protecting a criminal of the Galactic Council. Surrender and you will be spared." Eli laughed bitterly. "You always say that before killing us." He threw a broken power core into the air. The drone scanned it and it exploded in a flash of white light. The sky turned blue for a moment, blinding everything. Back in the cabin, Zoran tried to stabilize the connection. His skin glowed faintly as energy pulsed through his veins. The communicator crackled with static. Then a voice answered, deep and respectful. "Chancellor Vel, is that you?" Joran's eyes widened. "Yes, this is Vel. I am alive." "We thought you were dead, sir. The board announced your destruction." "I don't have time," Zoran said sharply. "Lock onto my beacon. Send retrieval team to my coordinates. Sector 12, Delta Ridge, hurry." "Understood." ETA 9 minutes, the signal cut. Joran slumped, exhausted. He could barely stand. Outside, Eli was still fighting. His jacket was torn, his arms bleeding, but he didn't stop. Every shot he fired echoed through the trees. When he turned to reload, a red beam hit the ground beside him, throwing him off his feet. He rolled over and saw one drone hovering just meters away, its weapon aimed at his chest. He braced for the end. A second later, a blue beam shot from behind the drone, tearing it apart. Joran stood at the ridge, holding a glowing pistol. Eli stared at him. "You shouldn't be out here." Joran smiled faintly. "And leave you to die alone? Not a chance." They fought side by side. Joran's blue drones attacked the red ones mid-air. The forest turned into a storm of light, red and blue fire clashing between the trees. Explosions lit up the sky. Eli and Zoran moved together, covering each other, firing at anything that moved. The old alien's aim was sharp, his eyes bright with energy. When the last drone fell, silence returned, broken only by the crackle of burning trees. Eli dropped his rifle and fell to his knees, breathing hard. "Is it over?" Joran looked up at the sky. Almost. Above them, the black ship was still hovering, but now a second ship appeared from the clouds. Sleek, silver, and shining like dawn. Joran smiled weakly. "My people." The silver ship opened its bay and bright beams of light reached down. Soldiers in silver armor descended silently, surrounding the area. Each of them knelt before Zoran. "Grand Chancellor Vel," one of them said, "we have come to take you home." Eli blinked. "Grand what?" Joran turned to him with a small, tired smile. "I didn't tell you everything, boy. I'm not only rich. I am the head of the Vel Dominion, the largest trade empire in 3 galaxies. Eli stared at him in shock. "You mean, you're like a king?" Joran chuckled. "Something like that. But I have not felt like one for a long time." The soldiers helped Joran stand. One of them handed him a cloak lined with blue silk. The alien looked once more at Eli, this dirty, brave human boy who had risked everything for him. Joran reached into his robe and took out a small metallic coin, engraved with the same crest as before, the star wrapped in vines. He pressed it into Eli's hand. "This is my mark," he said softly. "Wherever you go, this will protect you. Show it to any Vel ship or outpost, they will know you as my kin." Eli stared at the glowing coin. "Why me?" Joran's smile faded into something warm and proud. "Because when the universe forgot compassion, a human orphan reminded me what it meant. You saved me not for profit, but for kindness. That is something my world has lost." Eli swallowed hard. "Will I ever see you again?" Joran looked up at the silver ship. "If fate allows. But remember, Eli, true wealth is not in gold or power. It is in the hearts that choose to care when no one else does." He stepped into the light. Eli watched as the ship rose higher, vanishing into the stars. The sky glowed one last time, then faded to black. Days passed. The forest slowly healed from the fire. Eli repaired his cabin, though it felt emptier now. He kept the glowing coin on his table where it shimmered softly at night. Sometimes he looked at the sky, wondering if the old alien was still alive. Wondering if he had really been just a man, or something greater. Then one morning, the sky flashed again, this time with golden light. A small silver drone landed near his cabin, projecting a hologram. Joran's image appeared, smiling faintly. "Eli," he said, his voice warm, "I have rebuilt the colonies you once called home. They are now open to all humans who were lost. Your name is spoken among my people as the boy who saved the Chancellor. But the board still lives. They will strike again, and this time they may come for you." The hologram flickered, then added softly, "When that day comes, remember, you are never alone. You carry the mark of Vel." The message ended. Eli stood in silence for a long time, watching the stars. Then he smiled, picked up his rifle, and looked at the horizon. "Let them come," he whispered. "This time I'll be ready." The camera would slowly pan up into the night sky, showing the glowing mark of Vel shining brighter than all the stars, symbol of a bond between one human boy and an alien empire born from kindness. End of Part 3. The night fell again, quiet but tense. The stars above the forest seemed colder, sharper, and strange red lights moved among them like silent eyes. Eli stood outside the cabin holding his plasma rifle close. His arm still hurt from the last fight, but his eyes were steady. Inside, Zoran sat at the small table, watching the flicker of the dying fire. His face looked older now, tired, but his mind was alert. He could feel something coming. Something worse than drones. More will arrive, Zoran said quietly. Eli didn't look back. I know, that's why I'm ready. You cannot fight an army, Eli, the alien said softly. They will burn this entire forest just to find me. Eli turned, eyes glowing in the firelight. Then let them come. Zoran stared at him for a moment. You are not afraid? Eli gave a small smile. I've been afraid all my life. It stopped helping me a long time ago. Hours later, the silence broke. A low hum grew from the horizon. The air shimmered. Trees began to sway. Then a massive black ship appeared above the forest, long and sharp like a blade, silent as a shadow. Zoran stood, gripping the edge of the table. They sent a hunter craft. Full strike squad. Eli checked the rifle, heart racing. Then this is it. The ship opened its side ports and hundreds of small drones descended like rain, red lights blinking through the fog. Each one scanned the ground. Zoran limped toward the console they'd repaired earlier. If I can connect to their network, I might turn some of them against the others. Eli nodded. Do it. I'll hold them off. He ran out into the night. The first drone spotted him immediately, firing red beams that lit the forest like fire. Eli dove behind a fallen log and returned fire. The plasma bolt hit one drone, then another. Sparks exploded, metal shrieked. Zoran! He shouted. Now would be a good time. Inside the cabin, the alien worked fast. His hands moved across the broken device, wires sparking. The communicator glowed bright blue. He closed his eyes, muttering ancient commands. Override code, Vel Prime Omega sequence.